I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm the head coach for JobSearchCoachingHQ.com and NoBSCoachingAdvice.com. And welcome to Job Search Radio. Yes, I know it's a video, but we still call it Job Search Radio. It has more than 450 episodes in iTunes, mostly in audio format, but a few weeks ago I switched over to video. And I want to do another episode where I'm answering multiple questions, an AMA type of show, where I'm dealing with concerns that job hunters have and answering several questions and not just simply one. So before I get into it, I want to say that if you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, my address is linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Mention that you watched or listened to the show. I love hearing from folks who've done that. It helps me know that I'm helping folks, I'm reaching people, and I've been useful. Also want to mention that if you're interested in my coaching you can also email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Put the word coaching in the subject line, and I'll get back to you. We'll schedule a time to speak. If you visit thebiggamehunter.us, what you'll find is information about my work, as well as a blog that is loaded with great information. So again, that is thebiggamehunter.us. Now, let me start with the first question, which is a very good one, and it really goes back to my time doing recruiting. So as a recruiter, which I don't do any longer, I now coach, but as a recruiter, what are the most important things you look for in a resume and or LinkedIn profile? Good question, and it's really very simple. Recruiters look for people who fit a role. What they want to do is not just simply chat with people gratuitously. They want to find people who actually are relevant for a client. The way you demonstrate relevance is having a background that actually fits a role that they're recruiting for. They're not there to chit-chat. They are not there to be your friend. What they are there to do is very simply fill positions and then ultimately get paid. Just like you want to get a job so that you get paid at the right compensation level, so do recruiters. I know that's a big shock to you, but recruiters want to get paid too. And those who operate on a contingency basis, they certainly want to get paid because all they're doing is making next to nothing. And I say next to nothing because they're all commission-based. They may have a draw against projected commissions, but they're not earning their real money until the job is filled and the client is paid and you've been on board for a particular period of time. Obviously, retained search firms work a little bit differently. Money is being dripped out from the client to the search firm and thus to the individual recruiter. But contingency recruiters all work not on salary, they work on commission, pure commission. And thus they want to get paid, and thus they want to see backgrounds in your resume and LinkedIn profile to make the fit obvious. The extra thing I'll add for LinkedIn is it is so much easier if in the summary area you put your email address there that they can reach you at, so that this way they have a way of reaching out to you. And if you're out of work, put your phone number in. Okay, so that's question number one. Question number two. If an executive search firm emails you requesting that you recommend someone for a position, does that mean that they are interested in hiring you for the position? You probably just saw me shake my head there. Normally, someone who asks this question is not being contacted by an executive search firm. They're being contacted by a contingency recruiting firm that says they do executive search. Respectfully, you're probably talking to a contingency recruiting firm. They're emailing you asking for a referral rather than calling you. Tip number one, they're doing bulk communications. So if a recruiting firm emails you asking to recommend someone, it may mean that they're interested in talking to you about the position since they can't hire you for it, only their client can, or they've seen your background and they don't think it's a fit but they think you might know someone. So maybe is the best way I can answer that. Maybe they'd be interested in you for the job, maybe not, and maybe what they're saying is accurate. I know often when I used to send out emails to people on LinkedIn, I meant what I said. I wanted to know if they knew someone who might fit the role because the background was similar but a little bit different. So that was me. I can't speak for every recruiter in the world today to know whether they're going to be literal in asking you for the recommendation or this is some inference that you might go, hey, what about me? Okay, so question number 3. Should I send a thank you note once I got the job? Okay, to whom would you be sending the thank you note is the question. To the hiring manager? No. To HR? If they did something extraordinary. But definitely to your references. Definitely to the recruiters who along the way were helpful to you, even though they might not have been the one who introduced you to the job, and particularly to the one who did introduce you to the job. I know on the occasions where I got a thank you note or a gift in particular was extraordinary when I did recruiting. Maybe I got 5 in the 40 years I did search. Okay, I'll double it, 10. In the 40 years I did search, it was a momentous thing. Once every 4 years, someone acknowledged me in that way. You will get recognition for having done that. Whether that amounts to anything later on, you can't guarantee it. But what you do know is that there's an impact on the recipient. Certainly for the references, you don't have to send a gift. Although if you've known them for a long time, it's a very nice touch if they received a book that you know they'd be interested in. But thanking your references, you're going to need your references in the future. And you want to make sure that they think kindly of you. So in limited basis, a thank you note is a good touch, but not to the hiring manager, okay? Number 4, what should I do when I haven't found a job 8 months after graduation? So the first thing I would say is you're doing something wrong. Understand that you're doing something wrong and start looking at correcting it. Here's the formula that I tell people. So you're not going to get many calls or contacts out of LinkedIn because a recent grad is a dime a dozen. But I'm going to present this in a way that's general so that experienced workers will get something from answering this question too. So if you're not getting responses to your resume, you're either sending it for jobs that you're not qualified for, or it doesn't demonstrate a fit, which means it's a bad resume. If you're not getting contacted by people on LinkedIn, and again, this doesn't apply to a recent grad, if you're not getting contacted by recruiters through LinkedIn, your profile is missing keywords, and thus it's not coming up in searches. If you're getting first interviews but not invited back, you don't interview well. If you get invited back, but you're not getting invited to meet the hiring manager, you probably have to work on your area of expertise, since that tends to be what happens on the second interview. They go into more depth about your knowledge. If you're getting to the hiring manager, the overall boss, and not getting any further, you're having a problem with relationship skills, which probably isn't happening with you, but for a more experienced person, you're probably getting intimidated in your meetings with them and not presenting yourself as an equal in the conversation. The one thing that I know that senior professionals care about is they want to make sure that they can trust you. And the easiest way to do that is to talk to them as a peer. Now, back to our our grad who's been out of work for 8 months, you may have a skills deficiency. You may be sending out your resume to the wrong firms. I would say that the best thing that you can do is contact other graduates from the school that you attended who are in the same degree program as you and ask them how they got their job and see if there's anything at their firm. I would go back to the university, to the career services office and ask for input from them. I wouldn't hire a coach. You probably can't afford a coach, and the coach isn't going to be relevant for you. But you can go back and network with people that you went to school with who are graduates who are further along, a year or two ahead of you. Talk to them about how they found work. Talk to career services. Ask the more experienced grads how they landed, and work at that. Your network has to be able to help you, and it's not just simply about mass emailing your resume to the universe. Okay. And the last question is another LinkedIn one. What's the best way to find a job using LinkedIn? There's no simple answer to that. I think in terms of someone building a network, I think in terms of someone who's promoting themselves effectively, which for an experienced person, the idea is building a network, developing a relationship with people who over the course of time you can have a mutually beneficial relationship with. And from there, the best way, well, the easiest way is there are ads on LinkedIn, respond to an ad and get a job. But the probability of that is small. LinkedIn in that way is like a job board. And as a job board, there are limitations. There are limitations as to its effectiveness. After all, job boards fill 6% of all jobs. So it's telling you that it's not going to be real helpful. So LinkedIn is going to help you build a network that over time is going to be beneficial. It's not an instantaneous thing. After all, I'm going to use an example I heard years ago. This was a sales trainer who was talking to the top producers who were off on a junket in Hawaii. These were the top 0.1% at one of the largest investment firms in the world. These were heavy hitters. And what he did was point out that, they may all have good doctors, but we don't always think of referring our doctor, right? What we do is when asked for referrals, sometimes they come to mind, sometimes they don't, but we always have to be asking. His thing was in every call, you ask in less than 6 seconds, you can ask for the referral by saying, is there anyone else you know whom I might be able to help? Well, for you as a job hunter, you can be reaching out to folks and developing a relationship with them that over time is going to be beneficial to you. Is it going to be helpful on this search? I don't know. It may not be. You can get involved with groups and develop relationships there. You can meet people online accepting some of the recommendations that LinkedIn provides. There's a lot of different ways that LinkedIn can be very helpful to you. And I'll just simply say, go exploring. Depending on your seniority, groups can be remarkably helpful, specifically in your area of expertise, and particularly in certain business areas where your relationships with career proximates to you. I'll give you an example. You're a COO and you're talking to a CIO of an organization. Are they directly in your area of expertise? No, but they're in organizations where they interact with other COOs and have relationships with COOs from previous organizations too. So, it's through the weak tie that you have the opportunity to build a relationship that could be beneficial to you. Go exploring. Write for LinkedIn. They've got a blogging platform that allows you to promote yourself, and that can be beneficial. What's the best way? It really depends on where you are in your career, because it's unlikely that the very junior individual with 6 months of experience is going to have a lot to say in written form, right? But for you veteran individuals, writing, networking, answering questions, doing video. The LinkedIn app now has a video capability that you can use to promote yourself with. A lot of different ways that you can market yourself and develop the relationship with others. Go exploring and try. If it doesn't work, hey, what did it cost you, right? So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, and you're getting this on YouTube, I hope you give the show a thumbs up. If you're watching this, as Job Search Radio and getting it through iTunes, give the show 5 stars. A great write-up. It helps other people discover the show. And as I mentioned before, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request to me at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Hope you have a great day, and let me coach you. Take care. Bye-bye.